I started DJing when I was 12 years old. I wanted to be like Jam Master Jay, Kid Capri, and all the other greats. You know, that was my first love. I wanted to move the crowd. You know, and those guys were my idols. And when I was very young, I saved up all my lunch money and all my mowing the lawn money. Got my first set of turntables, and you know, I never really stopped since then. You know, that was my foundation. Well, how I got into parties. I mean, I started with parties, honestly. The reason I got into it so young is because a friend of mine's older brothers were DJs. So they DJ'd one of his parties, and at the very end of the night, they let all the little kids get on, and we were messing around, and that's where it started. Like, I started in the house party, you know, and I would tag along. I started tagging along with the guys and learning and watching. It was all house parties in that era, you know. Dating myself a little bit, but I come from the house party era. That's what it was. So as soon as I had a set, that's the first thing I started doing. Is, you know, as a young man, 12, 13 years old, I'm DJing all the house parties in my area, and as well as the school dances. I was the only kid at the junior high school on the payroll, you know, because I would get the check from doing the dances. Started doing high school dances while I was in junior high and clubs and all of that. So, I mean, I come from the era of make the party move and keep people going and mix it together, don't stop the groove, or you don't get paid. That's where I come from. That's kind of tough. My first jam, I remember, I mean, it was a lot. I remember when I was very young, you know, my parents playing all the Earth, Wind & Fire stuff and, you know, all the old school classics. So that's why I got a lot of soul music and funk music in my soul, you know, because that's where I come from. I grew up with that. But then, you know, being from the era that I'm in, you know, the growing up in the 80s and the 90s, that's when hip hop was born, and which is the foundation for a lot of the pop music now. So I have all of that just inbred in me, and I was buying records. I was, you know, like I said, I'd save my lunch money. I wouldn't eat lunch, and I'd go to the record store and buy a new 12-inch. That was my thing. So I mean, I really like all music, all types of music. You know, I'm also a classically trained musician. I play baritone and alto saxophone and symphonic wind orchestras, so I understand time signatures and keys and orchestration, et cetera, et cetera. So I feel like I lend a lot of that musicality to how I play and what my music is. What I love most about DJing parties is making people dance and having them feel good and being able to, you know, take a room that may be, you know, cold and silent and then turn it into just a hot, jumping, steaming mess of people having a great time, no matter what it is, you know, and it's not about one style of music for me either. You know, I find the same joy mixing dance records as I do soul, funk, hip hop, rock. I'll throw some rock in there, you know, polka, whatever I mean, if you have a song that we want to hear in there, I'll figure out a way to fit it in and make it flow with everything else. One of my very first corporate gigs that I did when I was very young, it was a Hewlett-Packard party in Silicon Valley, you know, back in the 90s. And I was very young, but, you know, to make all the executives and all of these people that don't look like they party at all, like have a great time and just be dancing and throwing their hands up, and I got them singing along to this and that. I mean, those type of experience, that one sticks out in my mind because it was the first one that I really did that. I got paid, it was dope. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I love it. I would say, you know, one of the toughest things for DJs to get used to when they're doing weddings, if they're not used to doing it, I say would be, I guess it's the pressure of this is the day. This is the perfect day. This is the day where everything's supposed to go right for that bride, especially that bride and that groom, you know, and you hit the wrong button at the wrong time or something like that, it could go wrong. So there's a lot of pressure, even though you might just be pressing play. You know, I want that day to be memorable, you know, and I know as a DJ, I play a big part in it. You know, when you're at a club, it's, you know, you just kind of, people are drunk and it doesn't matter or whatever, but this is the most important day of some people's lives. So I feel like, you know, that pressure could be hard for some people. It isn't really for me. I enjoy it. I like to see the smiles on people's faces. You know, every situation is fresh. You know, every time I walk into a brand new room, I'm not at the point, I've been DJing 25 plus years now. I'm not at the point where it's boring to me or it's routine or anything like that, because every group of people is different. You know, every single group of people that I play for in a wedding or any type of situation like that is different. There may be requests, a lot of times I get requests from the bride and groom that I may not know, but I look at it as not even a challenge. I look at it as a blessing. Somebody's introducing something new to me that I can now incorporate and find some new way to blend with something else that I already know. So every situation becomes a brand new, mixture, concoction of happiness that I could bring. So it's always new and fresh to me.